We're going to test Google Gemini Experimental Model 1206. You can do the same by navigating to aistudio.google.com. On the right side in this panel here under Run Settings, for Model, select the drop-down and scroll down to the Preview section and select the Gemini 1206 Experimental Model. You'll see that it has a 2 million token context window. Compare that to the previous version, the previous experimental model, with only a context window of less than 33,000 tokens. We'll go down to the input field at the bottom and provide our prompt, run it, asking it to figure out if 375 is 80% of 500. And it correctly answers that it is not 80%, but it walks us through the steps of how to find 80% of 500, as well as how much 375 is of 500. Now we'll give it a LeetCode Python problem labeled with hard difficulty, and the scenario is given an unsorted integer array of numbers to return the smallest positive integer that isn't in the array. It provides the code with comments as well as an explanation of the solution. So we'll go to Google Colab and paste this code in the notebook. Run this code and enter our list of numbers for the array. Press enter, and it correctly identifies 3 as the smallest missing positive integer from this array of integers. Let's give it another test case with a sequence starting from 7 but omitting the number 10. And it correctly gives the answer of 1. Let's give it one more test with these 4 negative numbers for the array. Press enter, and again, it gives us the correct answer of 1. We're going to go back to Google AI Studio and run some tests with the 2 most recent Gemini experimental models. And in the top right, we'll click on Compare, and this is where we can select our 2 models to compare. So in the left panel, we'll select the 1121 experimental model, and we'll keep the 1206 experimental model for the right panel. Now for the system instructions, we're going to take this approach, telling the model it's a director of growth marketing for a SaaS that can manage all rewards and loyalty accounts. For the instruction, we'll go to the field at the bottom and ask it to create a go-to-market strategy for the app. So it looks like they're both giving us good responses, detailed responses. And I'm actually surprised at how detailed these responses are. Even with the 1121 model, the response is much more detailed compared to the test I ran with Gemini 1.5 Flash and 1.5 Pro. You can take a look at that video with the link on the screen or in the description. For Gemini 1.5 Pro, it gives us some of the marketing channels that it'll use, as well as organizing everything in phases, gives us the key performance indicators, budget allocation, as well as a contingency plan. If we go back to our comparison, both models took about 46.5 seconds to complete the response. So taking a look at the response for 1121, it gives us the target audience and an ideal customer profile, detailing what those profiles look like, those characteristics. It provides the value proposition and the key messaging, the marketing channels and tactics to reach that target audience. Then we have the pricing model and monetization with freemium and subscription models. There's the measurement and analytics with the KPIs, analytics tools to use, a plan for iterating and optimization, and team resources. We'll take a look at the response for 1206. I really like this with the executive summary, so you can quickly see what this go-to-market strategy includes. And then we have the product overview, the core features, target audience, as well as phases, early adopters, mainstream expansion, and mass market, value proposition, competitive analysis, marketing channels and tactics with various phases or stages, pricing and monetization, the different models, including freemium, subscription, metrics and KPIs to keep track of, a timeline, a budget, and a section for conclusion. Overall, I like the response that the 1206 model produced much better. For the next test, we're uploading this image and asking the models to identify all the items in the image, to list them out as bullet points, and answer how many people are in the image. The 1206 model is a bit faster with its vision capabilities compared to the 1121 model, 5.2 seconds versus 7.5 seconds. But let's take a look at the responses. So for 1121, we have 2 drinks in plastic cups with lids, and it actually infers what the drinks might be. Then it mentions the yellow metal round table with a yellow metal chair and a green cushion on top of it. Then it mentions the paved ground. So it doesn't actually mention the green cushion as a separate bullet point, but it mentions it with the yellow metal chair. And then for the number of people, based on the feet and the legs, there are 2 people in the image. So that looks pretty good. And then for the 1206 model, it's much more simple response. Yellow table, yellow chair with green cushion, 2 clear plastic cups, 2 pairs of jeans, 2 pairs of shoes with 2 people in the image. So the 1206 model is a bit faster and gives us a response that closely follows the instructions. While the most interesting detail about this comparison is that the 1121 model gives us an inference of what the drinks might be. So this is what's available for free with Google Gemini in Google AI Studio. The 1-year anniversary model jumped to number 2 overall on the live bench rankings and to number 1 across all domains in the Chatbot Arena LLM leaderboard. You can see it shows significant improvements over the 1121 experimental model, the previous experimental model. If you found this useful, like the video and leave a comment. If you want more content on AI, workflow automation, and analytics, subscribe to the channel.